Many people do not lose themselves in one moment. They lose themselves in small silences. A truth they do not say, a feeling they do not name, an instinct they ignore, a moment where they choose acceptance over honesty, and then another, until one day they realize they still belong to the group, but they no longer feel fully present inside themselves. Today's animal story reveals what happens when the fear of rejection slowly teaches someone to abandon their own voice. This is the story of the wolf who forgot his song. Welcome to Integrity 444 Animal Archetype Story Lessons, where we use symbolic animal stories to explore emotional patterns, psycho-spiritual growth, LTQS self-mastery, and aligned living. In this episode, we're uncovering what the wolf reveals about belonging, self-silencing, identity, and the quiet cost of losing your voice in order to stay accepted. The wolf is a creature of instinct, loyalty, and belonging. Its gift is the ability to move with others without losing its inner knowing. But when that gift becomes distorted, it can turn into conformity, self-silencing, and fear-based loyalty. This story begins in a world where belonging was sacred, but sameness had quietly begun to replace authenticity. In the moonlit highlands of Echo Ridge, there lived a young wolf named Aaron. Aaron was known for something beautiful. He had a clear and unmistakable song. At dusk, Aaron would lift his voice and sing. His song was steady, full, and true. It carried instinct. It carried a feeling. It carried a kind of inner certainty that even the elders respected. They would say, "That one sings from the center of himself." But as Aaron grew older, he began noticing things. He noticed which voices were welcomed and which ones made the group uneasy. He noticed that keeping harmony often seemed easier than offering truth. At first, the changes in him were very small. He softened his tone when his own song felt too distinct. He waited to hear the others before adding his voice. When he sensed something different from the rest of the pack, he kept it to himself. No one demanded that he do this. No one stood over him and said, "Disappear." But fear does not always arrive as a command. Sometimes it arrives as a calculation. Will they still want me if I say what I really sense? Will I still belong if I sound different? Is it safer to stay true or safer to stay included? Little by little, Aaron began choosing inclusion over truth, and little by little, his song began to change. It was still pleasant, still part of the chorus, but it no longer carried his center. One cold season evening, the pack prepared to cross a narrow mountain pass. Most of the wolves were confident. As Aaron approached the pass, something in him tightened. The wind felt wrong. The stone beneath his paws felt unstable. He knew deep in his body that the pass was unsafe. He almost spoke. He almost said, "Wait, something is wrong." But then he looked around. The others followed with confidence. No one else seemed uncertain. And in that moment, the old fear rose again. What if I speak and I'm wrong? What if I disrupt the pack? What if my voice makes me separate? So Aaron stayed silent. He followed. Halfway across the pass, the ridge cracked. Stone broke loose. The pack scrambled backward just in time. No one was seriously harmed, but fear shook through them all. And Aaron felt something even worse than fear. He felt the pain of knowing. He had sensed it. He knew it. And he had said nothing. That night, Aaron wandered alone to a place called the Hollow Cliff. Aaron lifted his voice at the cliff, but the sound was thin, uncertain, almost unfamiliar. The cliff returned, the echo broken into pieces. Not false exactly, but fractured. And from the branch of a nearby pine, Sifa the owl spoke softly. "You did not lose your song all at once," she said. "You gave it away in pieces." The truth entered him like cold air. He remembered every small silence, every instinct he ignored, every moment he thought, "It is better to belong than to be true." Now he saw the cost. He still had a place in the pack, but he no longer felt fully gathered inside himself. In the days that followed, Aaron began listening inwardly. He noticed where his voice disappeared. Then another moment came. The pack was deciding whether to travel through a frozen ravine. Again, Aaron felt that tightening. Again, something inside him said, "This path is not safe." Again, the others moved toward agreement. And again, fear rose in him. If I speak, I could stand apart. If I speak, I could risk belonging. But now another truth was stronger. If I stay silent, I abandon myself again. So Aaron spoke. His voice trembled, but he said clearly, "The ravine is not safe. I can feel weakness beneath the ice." A few wolves frowned, but the elders paused. They checked the path, and beneath the thin layer of ice, they found deep fractures. The pack changed course. For the first time in many seasons, Aaron felt breath move fully through his chest. He returned to the hollow cliff. This time, his song returned whole, not grander, just truer. This story is not only about a wolf. It is about what happens in us when the need for acceptance becomes stronger than the need for truth. The wolf represents the part of us that longs for connection. We all want to be welcomed. But the shadow of the wolf appears when belonging begins to cost the self. It appears when we edit ourselves to fit the room, when we silence instinct to avoid rejection. Loyalty becomes self-erasure. This is how many people gradually lose their voice. A silence here, a suppression there, until eventually the person feels inwardly fragmented. Healing begins when belonging and truth are no longer enemies. Through the LTQS lens, this unfolds in 4 movements. First, listen. Aaron has to notice where his voice disappears. He notices the tightness in his body. Second, tell the truth. The confession is, I have been shrinking my true self so I do not risk losing belonging. Not just being easygoing, but silencing the truth. Third, choose wisely. Aaron chooses honest expression at the ravine. He chooses inner alignment over false harmony. Fourth, stay aligned, trusting instinct, speaking clearly, keeping identity alive inside relationships. That is the ongoing work of alignment for the wolf, remaining connected without disappearing. From an EFV perspective, this reflects identity suppression to maintain attachment. A person may hesitate to speak honestly or adapt excessively to group expectations. The healing move is to shift from fear-based belonging into grounded identity within connection. Not isolation, but grounded identity. That is the regulated wolf. In real life, this looks like going quiet in a meeting or minimizing feelings to avoid tension. But self-bet betrayal costs self-trust. Healthy belonging does not require disappearance. True connection does not ask you to amputate your voice in order to remain loved. The goal is to remain fully present inside yourself while staying in a relationship. If this story spoke to you, share in the comments what stood out most. And after this video, take one quiet minute and name one relationship or one space where you silence yourself, not to shame yourself, to find yourself again. Where have you gone quiet to stay accepted? What relationship or space makes your voice smaller than it really is? Take a moment to sit with that. If this work is helping you understand emotional patterns, self-betrayal, relational wounds, and the deeper path of healing, I also want to share 2 ways to go deeper with me. My book, Outsmarting the Narcissist, Psychological Edition, is available now on Amazon. And if you are ready for deeper guided support, visit integrity444ltqs.com to explore my courses, Foundation of Emotional Intelligence and Self-Mastery and Sovereignty after Narcissistic Separation and Recovery. These resources are here to help you move from survival into self-mastery, from emotional confusion into clarity, and from self-loss into truth and sovereignty. Thank you for being part of this community.